It is roll coverage. I am your host, Nick. We're going to jump right into it. We're talking. He's finally gone. Frank Reich.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Welcome back. We're talking about it, okay? I've been in a few spaces. I was lucky enough to get into Carolina blog and Sheena and all them doing a space, and I was able to listen to it. I kind of wanted to pipe up, but lunch came early, so I'm incredibly conflicted. Of course, I'm a Frank Reich supporter, we'll say. Before he came to us, I wasn't really the biggest fan. Again, I do give him more cachet because he was our first Panthers quarterback. I give him cachet because he did like the big, strong quarterback, and no offense, that's what I like as well. I like the Stroud, I like the Wentz, I like the larger quarterbacks. But again, I'm also one of the people that was saying he was going to get the axe, and Fitterer wasn't. So I think that we've kind of all been seeing the writing on the wall. I believe that the roster is subpar. No head coach can fix this, the personnel itself. And anybody that says they can, their first solution is to hire new GM, hire new coach, change roster. So it's never the opportunity to actually build on what you have. It's always, oh yeah, we're just going to change everything, which is could have given that chance to Frank, but he dropped the ball. He deserved the firing. He deserved all that. I don't understand how you can say that it's solely Frank's fault. Okay. Again, that's all I've said from the beginning. Too many people were giving him too large of the pie. When I said it was personnel, when I said it was the GM, when I said it was the owner, even long before everybody else, and everybody slowly, since week one, I've been telling everybody. Actually, shout out 2 growls, 1 roar. Dude was there when I put out one of my first videos when I revitalized the channel, and he was there when I was like, this personnel is not there, the team's not built right, this and this and that. And then we saw the press conference where Frank was like, yeah, man, I really don't like getting essentially bitched out by the owner every week. And then people were like, man, that's so weird. Why is the owner so involved? Blah, blah, blah. But again, Frank's still taking the heat every week. I said I thought that he was protecting Thomas Brown. Hey, I agree. That was a little off base. I was giving him a lot of credit. Okay. I'm sorry. Something was beeping in my head. I'm overwhelmed by the situation. I'm overwhelmed because the real problem was never solved, which is Scott Fitterer. I do believe essentially at this point that Scott Fitterer is a direct extension of David Tepper, and I do not expect a change there. If we get a change there, then that would tell me that Tepper's willing to make the big move. But to be honest, if that's the case, he could have made the big move when we could have gotten Shaq, meaning Shaq Leonard. He could have made the big move when we could have gotten Montez Sweat, Chase. There's a bunch of wide receivers that were out there, all that other stuff. But he kept telling everybody that we're a quarterback away. So I'm going to take it back. We're going to take it back before we hired Frank, which was March or something like that, whenever the hell Frank was hired. We are coming off of a season where we fire the coach in the middle of the season and move to an interim. Interim was a little bit more, I would say, defensive focused, but offensive line play was half decent. Ball was ran well, all that other stuff. That's the point where everything went wrong. Okay, I understand people are going to sit here and say Wilks should have been the coach, and I don't agree with that. I don't think Wilks is this, almighty savior that would have all of a sudden changed the Panthers into a 10-win franchise with Bright. But you got to think of it as it's happening. So Wilks is gone. We have a half-decent roster. So what do we do? I'm going to actually pull up the Panthers transactional list from 2023. I'm not going to put it on the TV. Sorry. To my right is the actual camera that I can see everything that's happening, so it's kind of throwing me off. But let's go all the way back. I'm going to see when this one allows me to see. So the latest one that it shows me is June 8th, 2023. That's wrong. There's got to be more roster transactions. Sorry, I'm just trying to find that. But anyways, this ball starts rolling, right? So we decide that we're going to, obviously have to get a long-term coach. We're going to have to put some pieces around. At that time, we don't have Thielen. We don't have... Did we sign Chark this year? I think it was this year, because I'm pretty sure we have LaVisca for 2. Or this is our second year with him. Okay, here we go. In January... January 2nd, we placed Horn on IR, signed Thecklenburg, Preston Williams. We even promoted Phil Hoskins, Josh Norman to the active roster. Then at that point, we grabbed a few others. It looks like we re-signed Ricci, Steven Sullivan, Deontay Brown, Spencer Brown, Saunders, Wright, Kobe Jones, Raekwon Williams, and Aron Mosby to reserve and futures contracts. Do a little bit, and I'm sorry, Frank Reich was hired January 26, 2023, right? Then we hire Evero. Then we name Jim Caldwell senior assistant. Then we re-sign Jay Jansen. So the first problem I have with that is you're bringing in a head coach with not a GM that he's going to want to work with no real goal for moving forwards, because at that time they had not brokered the trade. So let me see the date that it was done. Panthers trade for number 1 pick. We did not trade that until March 10th, it looks like, is when it was reported on. Sorry, my AC popped off. So yeah, so we go through all that. So between that last transaction, the JJ was February 20th. So we go a little bit longer than ever, so we make that trade. We released Jordan Beck. We signed Hayden Hurst to a 3-year, which at the time I liked. DJ Chark was agreed on March 24th, so good, I was right there. Agreed to terms, signed Bozeman, Hurst, Thomas, Tuttle, Chark, Pinero, Anderson. April, signed more people. Demir Bird, Eric Rowe, Camus, Grugier, Hill. I'm not really sure. And then, of course, we start moving into the actual season, signing Jonathan Mingo from the draft, all that other stuff. Now, hindsight is always going to be 2020. I completely understand that. I understand that some people are going to be pissed off that we didn't get rid of Reich sooner. I understand that. I just don't know what the next step is. Everyone's talking about Ben Johnson, okay? And I like Ben Johnson. He could be good here. But why would Ben Johnson want to leave a organization where theoretically the Lions are in actual contention, per se, for a real playoff chance? Young pass rush, Aiden Hutchinson. Excuse me. Great young wide receivers in Amos St. Brown. They have one other guy whose name is escaping me right now, Sam Laporta. Goff has been playing really well. Jahmyr Gibbs, all that other stuff. So they're really building for the future, okay? Because they hit on draft picks. Our scouting department hasn't hit on a real, honest, great draft pick in a minute. And now, obviously, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, okay, that's this, that's that, whatever. Frank got there in January and was gone. I mean, it's November, so not even a literal full year. Obviously not a full football year as well, but not even a full calendar year. So it's, I don't know. I'm going to get this next part out because this is something I felt for a long time. It is something that I referenced multiple times. So if people need me to find it, then I will. But I continue to beat the table that this is the wrong way to handle situations. I understand the owner is a business guy. I have an MBA in international finance, working on my doctorate. So I know the finance world to a degree, obviously not to the billions level, but like I think Anthony actually talked about, C3 Anthony, who I'm not even a big fan of, but talked about how he actually made his money. I'm not sure if it was him, but I mean, the dude basically bet against the United States kind of thing, and basically bet against a bunch of different countries to make his money. So it's not really, something you would think of for the football world. But then we bring in our first coach after he had just had a very rough firing from the Colts, where he didn't really have a quarterback for the future, especially one that was his. He had a really old Matt Ryan, which I give him a pass on. The Carson Wentz one I don't. But I really thought that this could be the opportunity. And I told everybody that this was going to affect Frank in a different way. He acted like an adult. I agree with that. But he's taking this a lot harder than people are reporting on yet. And I think we will see that come out at some point, that he was extremely hurt that the organization that brought him in was so quick to jettison him. I understand they're adults. I understand this is a job. But a bunch of you guys got fired, like I put up in my tweet. A bunch of y'all been fired from Burger King, but yet you're getting over here mad about Frank Reich getting 2 massive paydays. Like, I don't understand the logic. I understand he didn't meet the qualifications, and like I said, I thought he should get the axe after like week 6, and I said it was coming. But what I didn't want was you guys to just give him all the crap, because now what you're seeing is now that he's removed, we're already finding out that him, McCown, and possibly even Deuce Staley wanted Stroud. Now, I understand people are going to be like, oh, well, what does that mean now? It means a lot, actually, because a bunch of y'all called that man a fraud and said he's this. He doesn't know how to evaluate talent and all this other stuff. And you guys were digging at the coach. You guys were digging at all these other things. But if the coach never had the opportunity to succeed from the beginning, then how is that the coach's fault? I understand that, he didn't elevate to a certain point, but we saw like his third week press conference where he's like, yeah, bro, I'm tired of getting of torn up in these meetings, like I said at the beginning. That's not a way to accomplish all this. And then we hear that he possibly vetoed the Stroud trade. Like, okay, the report is that we were supposed to go to 2 instead of 1. Texans would take Bryce Young, and then we would take C.J. Stroud. Everybody understood that Bryce Young was the consensus number 1, but then Tepper was like, nope, we need to go to 1 and do that. The reason why that means something is because we theoretically could have had C.J. Stroud and not included Moore. So we give C.J. Stroud a better wide receiver than Tank Dell and Nico Collins and DJ Moore, on top of Thielen, Laviska, Chark, Mingo, all that other stuff. So I understand that you guys are like, oh, well, what would it change? It theoretically could have kept our best weapon on the team. Now, again, when we also come into the offensive play calling, I agree that it wasn't good. But I told y'all from the beginning that it was the personnel. You know who else agrees with that? Chad Ochocinco, Shahid Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, Dan Orlovsky. They all agree now. It took them 10 weeks when I was echoing it in week 1. That this personnel cannot succeed the way it's built. I understand that. But I'm still going to take that, and I'm still going to break my arm, giving myself a pat on the back. Because I was told, you don't know ball, you don't know this, you don't know that. But no, I was seeing what my eyes were telling me. I was believing what was on the field. And everyone kept telling me, including a person that I actually really support now. His name on Twitter is not Chris Tabor. It used to be not Frank Reich. Dude's really smart. Dude knows what he's talking about in a lot of situations. Of course, not everybody knows everything. But he actually posted up a thing where he was like saying, hey, man, we're going to win this game, win that game, lose this game, all this other stuff. And I was like, bro, we ain't winning none of that. And I was literally dragged through the mud, even by like trash other people. Not saying that Chris Tabor or, any of these people are trash, but there's some of y'all out there that are trash. So that's just how it is. But yeah, It makes me incredibly happy to know that we're finally here. Now I don't want to hear the excuses anymore. So when next year, when we're in the same situation, and I understand we might not be 1-10, we might have 2 wins, 3 wins, shoot, we might even have 4, but it's still the same situation. This team is not built to win. This team is not enabled to win by the owner. This team does not have the ability to evaluate talent at a high level to make things easier on them. So it's just a culmination of so many things. Yes, again, I will continue to say Frank deserved the X. I don't know the latest time that I said it, but I definitely said it with a healthy amount of time. I just think now you're seeing that he was truly scapegoated from the get-go, and now we essentially just treated a Panthers legend, regardless of what you want to say, that he didn't, he's not Peyton Manning and he's not this. He's still the first quarterback who threw the first touchdown for this organization. So you guys can say whatever you want, but that would hurt a lot of people. And I'm going to use this example. It may not be the best example, but if you came and, a certain organization believed in you, they brought you in, and then all of a sudden they bring you, you go do something else, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to come back and I'm going to help them out. We're going to elevate together. You guys gave me my first chance. And then less than a year later, they're like, get the fuck out. You'd feel some type of way. And if you don't, then you're unable to handle your emotions. So I think that's just an adult thing. So adults understand that. Children don't. So just understand that if you're not getting it, there's a reason why. There's still a human element to this. He's still a good person, all that other stuff. And all the fan base did was drag him through the mud. So I hope soon that we get the amazing interview, the tell-all interview where he drags this organization, drags the fan base and everything, because that's not something you do to a person you once believed in. Okay? You guys wanted blood, you got your blood, and now there's not going to be a measurable improvement. And I can't wait for it. I can't wait for us to continue to lose games. I can't wait for the overreaction. Like I said, for example, I said that Thomas Brown would get a win, that everybody would overreact and say Thomas Brown needed to call all the plays. There's literally a report out this morning that David Tepper literally told somebody else to run a play at one point. I'm not sure if it was his tenure here with the Carolina Panthers or whatnot. I'm still waiting to get official sourcing on that, or somebody else to find that. Of course, I'm not in tune with any insiders or anything like that, but I'm just blown away. Again, blown away. But overall, I'm still going to remain a Panthers fan. I will watch every game. I will watch every snap. I will watch the all 22. Couldn't care less. But what I will not do is allow the fan base to continue to act like children, to be honest. I'm going to keep calling it out. People just need to, wake the fuck up. But otherwise, I'm Nick. This is Roll Coverage. I'm going to keep being here. I'm going to keep doing breakdowns. I'm not going to do Chris Tabors yet because that was just his intro. And everybody's already pissed off at the David Tepper interview. So, yeah, absolutely blows my mind. But again, hopefully everybody has a great day. Day, date, whatever. This is Nick at Roll Coverage. Have a great one.